Good evening, Star Pupils. I'm your host, friend, and life coach, Mrs.Divine, and I bridge the gap between intuition and intelligence by giving you the tools for alignment. Today, I want to talk to you briefly about understanding the power that you have when you start putting in this work, okay? So this message is for those who are actually putting in the work, taking accountability for their lives and what they see around them that has come as a result of them and the choices that they have made. Those who are healing, doing that internal work, and those who are working and practicing on their spirituality in whatever way that may look like for them. Those who are doing things to get better and be better. Fly high, fly high. When people are drawn to you, sometimes it's because they actually are in alignment with what you're doing or who you are, where your vibration is at the time. Other times it's because they have studied people like you. They know what people like you and the vibration that you're in do, the things they talk about, and the places that they hang out. So sometimes what happens is that we meet people along our path who we feel as if we're meeting because they are similar to us. With how popular consciousness has become and the different ways that people receive their consciousness and how quickly they can feel as if they've come to know something that they have had no practice in, and it's not a lifestyle that they actually live, but there's just so much information and resources out there on it. They are able to gather that information and come to conclusions and know things and know how to portray themselves as if they are just like you. Okay? And so these are things that have been happening in the dating world. These are things that happen, with friendships. These are things that happen even when you have coaching and client relationships, right? Even with siblings and family members. When you are taking accountability for your lives and the way that we do when we come into consciousness, and you are making changes, and these changes ultimately make you a better person, people are going to be attracted to that because they're going to see your life and see you. And if they have been around you in the first place, they're going to notice the difference, the real difference that comes with change, internal change. And they're also, even if they don't know you, they're going to feel that vibration that you're living in that flows with you. And people are going to either want to change their lives to get some of that for themselves in their own way, or they're going to want to be around you because it feels good to be around somebody whose vibration is like that. Okay? And so we have to realize the fact that there is information overload out here on the things that we practice and the way that our lifestyle is. So people don't even have to practice this to know our thoughts and insights, because of people like me, yes, who share the knowledge that they gain, the insight that they gain, and give tips and tools and things like that, freely out here for those who are actually willing to put in the work, for those who are actually growing in consciousness. But there's no filter, right? We can't just filter this for the people who are actually here on this path. It is open information, so it's here for anyone who comes across this information, right? And the same thing, like when you get into consciousness and see what it's really about, you start manifesting and things like that. People can do it for positive reasons, and people can do it for negative reasons, okay? So the same thing with why they, what happens when they come across this knowledge. They can use it for good things, and I say good things as in changing yourself for the better. You realize that, oh, I heard this information on this is what you should do to relieve yourself from the symptoms of this illness, right? and you start doing this and cure that illness yourself. Or people can use this information to for reasons that aren't so pure, like, oh, I heard you can do this to lose weight, so I'm going to start selling things for people to lose weight and do this, but I myself am not going to partake in it. I myself can't even commit to it, but I'm going to have other people do it because this is where the money's at, okay? So it's a fine line what positive and negative is, because there really is no such thing. It's about what end of the spectrum you're on, but y'all get what I'm saying, right? The intent is everything. So this message is a reminder for those who are actually taking accountability for their lives and living consciously, that there will be people who you may notice are not who they say that they are, okay? These are people who could have been in your life the whole time. These are people who you could have just now started gravitating to. These could be clients that say, like, hey, I'm on this path of my life too, and I'm trying to learn more about this, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. And then as you get to really know them and talk to them, you realize that it's all a bluff. Okay? You're in the dating world and you realize that this person who said that they were vegan actually aren't vegan. And they still like eat meat from time to time, right? And that's important to you. Or they say, they are about this conscious life, but then they say that they go to church every Sunday. Or they go to church, or they say that they're a church person, someone who is Christian or believes in whatever religion you believe in, and then you find out that actually they don't even uphold those values. Okay? So you find out that these people are learning about you, or learning the trends of people who are like you, and they are putting on a coat and masking themselves as if this is who they are too, when it's really not who they are. And then once you discover it, you realize how close this person has gotten to you, and they were never who they said that they were. Okay? So I'm putting this out here to serve as a reminder that when you are living in the vibrations of a conscious person who takes accountability for their lives, that looks and feels attractive to those who want that and those who want people like that. Be very mindful of those who you have in your circle, because those are the people who you're going to want to have that are actually wanting that for themselves too, okay? So it's okay. Those are two different imposters I just named, because I never said that these are people who are like that too, okay? People who are like that too are not imposters. Oh, you do yoga, I do yoga too. You're a life coach, I'm a life coach too. These aren't people who are imposters. The imposter comes in when they aren't this already, but it is something that they aspire to be, or it is something that they just want to have around them. Okay? All this talk right now about high value women and high value men, or what divine feminine energy is, or divine masculine energy is, all these things are being used to cause separation right now and not unity. Okay? All these things are being given so much attention that people are gaining insight to things that they really have no clue the depths about. Some of the people out here giving the information on what it means to have divine feminine energy and what divine masculine energy is are people who are actually imposters, right? They don't even live this lifestyle that they're saying. But it's something that's getting them followers. It's something that's getting them money. It's something that's giving them attention. And then people are really changing and altering their lives based on the insight of these people who are actually imposters themselves. And then they start making life choices and decisions that they feel are conscious, right? And they are judging themselves off the information that they're getting from these people who are actually imposters. And I say imposter because Just because they have the information on it doesn't mean that they have the true insight on it, because they're not living their lives like that. Okay? So then they're discovering at some point that these people are actually imposters, have been saying and preaching all these things, and people have changed their lives to be, to experience this on their own. It's good for you that you changed your life to experience it on your own, and that's what this whole journey is about. You never know who an imposter is, so you never want to look at anyone as the end-all, be-all to what you say and do, the way you choose to live your life. But you do want to understand that if it comes a day that you discover this person's an imposter, and basically they just had a bunch of knowledge, but they never lived their life like that, this is a lesson for you as well. This is a lesson for you, because when you find out this, if you are true to your course of consciousness, although it might be something that's like, oh man, I was hoping you was one of the real ones, right? Although it may be something like that, it doesn't knock you off your course, okay? You're not just lost now and don't know what to do, because if you're a person who's truly about taking accountability for your life and growing in consciousness, you will know how to be centered, okay? Being centered is when you may hear about information that can impact or influence your life in certain ways for the better, and you never knew about it before, right? So it may be something of interest to you. And a person who is conscious and on this conscious path, what they will do is they will center themselves and get in tune with their own thoughts and feelings on whatever topic or subject it is, whatever new information that they just learned, and really sit and see how they feel about this. What are their thoughts about this? What is their current programming? And they will think about where all this came from, where all this programming came from, all their thoughts and insights on it. Once they get that down and they listen again to what they heard, or they start doing their own research in whatever way that that may look like, they're going to be able to balance out what is for them in the thing that they just learned, or whatever that they just, the insight that they just got, and what is not for them. And then after they apply that information, they're going to be able to sit with themselves again and center themselves again to really get a clear understanding of now what's going on. Now that I have been doing this or have changed this, what difference is it making in my life, right? So a centered person who is balanced with who they are inside, although we are able to be inside and outside of ourselves at the same time, because it's all us regardless, although we are able to do that, there should be a balance. We are currently getting taught in the school systems, and just the way we're taught about teaching things in general, that everything outside of us is true. That when you're looking for answers, you need everything outside of you. You're being taught right now that if you want to know about anything, look on the internet, okay? And these things are the furthest from the truth. The true answers to what you need for your expansion are inside of you. Yes, some things out here on the internet are going to help you find your truth. You know, some things will resonate to you as true, but everything isn't on the internet. There are plenty of things that you may have researched that you have heard of and you can't find on the internet. But if you crack open a book at the library, all the information is there. So it's a misconception that everything is on the internet, because that's just not the truth. And I'm pretty sure anyone can come up with an example of something that they were searching for and had a hard time finding on the internet, or didn't find it at all. I say this to say you must be balanced with any information that you're hearing, anyone who's given it to you, because you never know if this person is an imposter or not. And it doesn't matter if they are or not. You have to know that the balance comes from you. Okay? If you're becoming codependent with somebody, you know, you just started dating this person and you just want to spend every second of your day with them. You start spending every second of your day with them and find out that actually they have these qualities and that quality that's not matching with someone who is saying that they meditate, you know, or not matching with someone who says that they work on themselves. It's not matching with someone who says that they take mental health seriously. Then you must start to tune in to what you know. When you're balanced, you are able to tune in to your own intuition and pick up on the vibes that others are giving you. When you can pick up on the vibes that you're getting from other people, because you are in tune with yourself, you can sense those vibes. then imposters will not be able to get close to you. And if they do somehow find their way in your path, know that A, it was for your growth, for you to realize that there somehow wasn't a balance. Okay, you were a little bit too much outside of yourself. When that happens, you're able to bounce back. You're not affected by it the way others are when they really believe in something, really believe in someone, and they are crushed. Okay? So that happens with a lot of people who may feel as if their favorite singer or celebrity is just so great, and then they find out something about them that they don't like, and now they just, throw away all the music that they ever bought from them, and don't follow them anymore on social media, whatever the case may be. Or anyone with a mentor, right? You may feel as if your mentor is this great person who is like flawless, because where they're at or what they're doing is where you're trying to be. Then you find out something and you're like, okay, well, they got work to do too. You have to also remember that people are human. But where the imposter stuff comes from is not about them being human or not. What it's about is about them actually living what they speak. Okay? So living what they speak is what makes them different from an imposter. There are so many people who have YouTube channels. There are so many people who are motivational speakers or coaches and, things like that, or pastors and priests. People who you go to, therapists, psychiatrists. There are so many people who we can go to for guidance and feel as if we are getting sound, solid advice from them. And you could be. Even sometimes the imposters, the people who teach things and don't actually live it, they could be teaching you things that are actually great, and you needed that insight for you to do the next thing on your path, right? So although these things could be great, some people literally change their lives for it and feel as if they should have never done it because they are associating what they learned with that person, instead of understanding that sometimes that's just how consciousness needs to be brought about to you, is for you to have that much belief and trust for you to make these changes that are positive. And that's another thing. If the changes that you're making in your life are positive, remember the intent you had behind it, not the person who gave you the idea in the first place. Okay? Right now we have a lot of people who are talking about masculine energy and feminine energy. Sometimes it's related or also known as high value women, high value men, or it's also referred to as divine feminine energy, divine masculine energy, or just feminine energy or masculine energy. And although some of the information out here is true, as far as it's based off of true principles and the universal laws, they are being said in a way as if these people know exactly what it is that they're talking about. And things are being put out here on such a surface level. And every time that something is surface, it's not balanced, right? When you're not bringing the spiritual into it as well, it's not balanced. And so what this is doing is putting people further outside themselves. So not only are they seeking this information and getting insights and changing their lives and stuff based on some surface material, and they're also attaching it to a person who a lot of times is an imposter. These people aren't living their lives like this. These people are living other lives and telling other people that here's what you need to do to get this, based off of some book that they read, based off of what it is they want to see, or based off of some information that they got and they want to take it and run with it. Okay? And I'm saying that because anything surface is unbalanced. And what I'm starting to see happen is that people are learning these terms: divine masculine, divine feminine, high value, low value, and they are talking about it, but they don't have a conscious bone in their body when they're talking about it. And what I mean by that is that if you ask them deeper on that subject, other than what somebody told them, They have nothing. They have nothing. They might say, oh, well, I'm changing my life to be, I don't know, to learn how to cook because a high value woman knows how to cook. I'm changing my life to um, know how to teach children, how to educate children because a high value woman knows how to do this. And then they are completely taking themselves off their course sometimes by putting all their energy and effort into these things when at the end of the day, that doesn't necessarily constitute a high value woman, right? But they have put their thoughts and beliefs into what someone else said again, and this person is not living the life of a true high value person. Some people are learning how to some people are themselves high value men looking for high value women. So what ends up happening is that women who are not high value also know what high value women do. So then they put themselves in these places. I'm going to use again yoga, okay, because that's just one that be out there for everybody. So a person who actually is not high value, and when I say high value, just means somebody who's working on themselves, taking accountability and living a conscious life and making choices and decisions that are based on their level of consciousness and their intent of growing that consciousness, right? So these women who really aren't high value are going to these places that they know high value women are at, okay? So that is, let's say the yoga studio. And then these men who are high value are coming to look for them, look for high value women there, and that's what they're doing. Some women are, on the whole, okay, a high value woman should be completely beautiful. So if they don't feel as if they're beautiful, like naturally in their own skin, they're going to apply makeup and things like that, or change their body to be more of a sexual appeal for men. And then men who are looking for a high value woman may look at someone who is beautiful on the outside and has that feminine look, the divine feminine look, and say, oh, this is a high value woman. And now they're mistaken because they don't realize that it's not just the external part, right? It's the internal part as well. What also happens is that women can become caught in the mix of imposters as well, because let's say they're high value and they're going to the yoga studio because that's what they do as part of them managing their energy and increasing their energy. And then a high value man, a man comes along who's not working on his energy at all, but he wants a high value woman because, they're appealing to him. He comes into there and he starts doing yoga because he's looking for what he's looking for. And someone's like, oh my gosh, it's a guy in here and he's doing it too. So then when he approaches them, he can slide in as an imposter because although this is not his regular lifestyle, or honestly, he could be doing it for this. He could have actually picked up a practice, for this. Those are two different kind of imposters. This is one who is doing this for this. And he may actually get this high value woman and realize this is what it's going to take to keep up with a high value woman. I'm going to have to keep on with my yoga. And on top of that, I'm going to start eating right. That's different. That's an imposter who is turning him or herself into a high value person based on what it is that they have acquired when they tapped into that high value consciousness. The other type of imposter is the one who is going to be going to the yoga studio just to pick up a high value woman. And then when he gets with her, he isn't going to do what it takes to keep that going and keep being able to keep up with that energy of a high value person, because he was actually just doing it just to get with her, period. He thought that was going to be enough because he looked good or he had money, when he actually wasn't working on himself in other kind of ways. So when emphasis is put on physical things, y'all, when it comes to high value, low value, divine masculine, divine feminine, that is a sign that the person who is giving you the information is an imposter. Okay? Another thing, when emphasis is placed on this is how it is, you must be You're not a high value woman if you can't cook and won't cook for your man. You're not a high value man if you're not making six figures. These are also signs that who you're getting your information from is an imposter. Because anyone who is actually into consciousness and are taking the measures to improve and change their lives and make those decisions that create more accountability, understand that things aren't black and white all the time. For example, there are plenty of men who are chefs, and they actually prefer their woman to not cook because that's their avenue and that's what they want to do. Does them naturally enjoying cooking and being good at cooking make them a low value man? Absolutely not. Their woman, even if she can cook, who knows if she can or she can't, they are asked not to because that is something that he wants to do. He provides in that way of cooking. Does that make her a low value woman? Absolutely not. So you have to understand what divine feminine energy is to you as an individual if you are a female. And if you are a male, you must understand what divine masculine energy is to you, and then find your partner who balances you out. So you must know yourself to know the qualities you possess as a divine feminine or a divine masculine. Only then can you find your balance. And your balance is not always going to be black and white. It will not always be someone who can cook for you. It will not always be a man who makes six figures, okay? It's going to look different depending on what you need to balance you out when you are conscious enough to already be working on yourself. So, of course, this is not going to work for somebody who is not conscious. This is not going to work for somebody who does not work on themselves. This is not going to work on somebody who has excuses up the wazoo on why they can't, couldn't, won't do something to improve or change their life. If you have no accountability, then you are not high value simply because you have no accountability. That makes you low value. If you have high accountability and take actions to do something to change and tweak your life in ways that make you proud of the life that you're living, then you are high value and you are able to now know yourself enough to know who balances you out, okay? To know when you feel unbalanced. For example, the woman who is taking over the roles of what she would want her divine masculine to do, such as, let's say, she wants to be able to have her duties of cleaning be something that she doesn't have to stress herself out about all day, right? So let's say she's a stay-at-home wife, and she cleans up after the kids, because everything all cleaning stuff for the day, and then her husband comes home from work and he's throwing his stuff all over and creating more of a mess for her, although she has spent her time cleaning. Okay, that's not a good matchup for her energy, because that's going to stress her out, that now she has more cleaning to do when she's already done all these things to maintain her house and keep her house clean. Okay, so people who are high value know when and where in their lives that they are getting stressed out at, and then they know that their balance is someone who's going to come in and do their part, so that she doesn't have to stretch herself out, stretch her energy out in ways that are going to drain her, right? She's going to be able to maintain, she's still going to have to clean, right? Her regular cleaning, but at least when he comes home, he's not going to be throwing his stuff all around. Or if he does and she says, hey, babe, I just cleaned up all that right there. He says, oh yeah, he gets his stuff and he does it himself or something like that. That's a balance, right? And so someone who knows their energy level is not going to go after a guy who is messy and sloppy like that, who feels like he has a maid. They're going to probably go for someone who balances out their energy. And that person, even though she may still do the bulk of the cleaning, he's not a messy, untidy type of person. So I hope this message is clear. And the moral of this message is, although this was long-winded, the moral of this message is that we will know an imposter when it creeps up if we are doing the work ourselves. Okay? You're doing the work on yourselves, and you know that the ultimate authority lies in you. If you know that the ultimate authority lies in you and your reference point, your viewpoint, and you are doing the work, you are taking accountability for your life and living consciously, making conscious decisions, and you're not pointing the blame at anyone or anything else that's happening to you that you see around you, then you are in a position to detect imposters and keep them at bay. And you're not going to be able to be shaken too much if you happen to encounter an imposter, because you're going to realize that that there was a lesson to be learned, and you will learn that lesson, integrate it, and move forward, not repeating the same mistakes again.